Hello everyone, gshock here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're gonna have a look inside the GMA-P2110 SC. Let's get to it. First of all, of course, remove the strap out of the way. With this watch, it is quite unique because it has this slot here, but there's no quick release at all. You have to remove the spring bar from one side only. If you go to the other side, you can see there's no access at all, even not in the center, only one-sided, which gonna be trouble in the future if this got ever rusted. And the buckle, permanent lock, not a big fan. So let's just skip to the next part, which gonna be have to remove the bezel, which is the most interesting part of the watch because it only locked with 2 screws and a lot of clips, just like the DWE-560 or GMA-P2110. You can see it over here on the side. You can see this clip here. The bezel also even hold by the button itself, which is quite interesting, so that's why they only use 2 screws. And you can see I'm still struggling to remove the bezel out of the way, even though it is locked with 2 screws, because there's so many clips, one over here, down here, and the center. Of course, you got the screws to lock it in place, and then on over here at the center. This is the part that you cannot access easily unless you really force it out. So all around, of course, you get all the clips, which makes this watch really unique. And even better, look at that, this bezel consists of 3 separate parts. This is where the button hold the bezel, which I doubt why you need the screws anyway. This is the second bezel, the top side of this thing. Tiny resin rubber, I would say really flexible, and it is complex. It kind of reminds me of the GA-2200 series bezel or the GA-2000 was it, right? All this clip there. And also here's the plastic part. This is not rubber, it is more plasticky with chrome painted up at the bottom, but it didn't sound like metal though, so that's the thing. And it is really glossy, and this is the part that's gonna be really cool. Check this out. I'm gonna acquire this blue azurite looking, I would say, frame for the watch. It looks really cool though. This is the thing that everybody could do. You only have to remove 2 screws. Doesn't affect anything, it's just on the outside. Everybody could modify this watch easily, and it is not too much. It looks really nice. Just 2 color example here, red and blue. Yeah, I don't know if you could find replacement parts, or you just spray painted yours and you be good to go. Any color that you want, fluorescent vibrant color would be better in my opinion. And it look like this one of them. Look at that, all the clips goes in there, and it is hold just by the top. Tiny rubber bezel on top of it. Of course, there's a bit of screws on the side there, and you got the idea, right? It is really unique for a watch this small. They made it like 3 separate parts. I love it every time CasiOak add a lot of efforts on something that most people probably not gonna notice. Only the owner does. That's the cool thing about G-Shock watch. If you have one, only you will know what's going on. Now carry on to the next part. We're gonna have to remove the back plate out of the way. Just basic stuff here. 4 screws, 1, 2, 3, and pop it out. Now it looks pretty basic, right? You have this rubber cushion here, which have the underside highlighting the battery section, which is kind of cool, and the movement looks really quite unique. You have this really polygonal shape to it, I would say, right? I guess that's the right word. Check it out. It is really slim with the hands built to it. Look at that. But if you look closely, it has this if I'm not mistaken, vapor deposited face down negative display. But we got to it after. I have a lot of time to cover on the movement. First, let's remove the glass, which reminds me of the GAV01, where it is bevel and there's no gasket. They just glued it down to the hard case. This is the thing that I do not like about the watch. I mean, come on, they could have made this watch like 1 millimeter thicker and just add the gasket instead of glue. It's gonna make my job a lot easier. The index marker remind me of a regular GA-2100, just basic stuff, painted, doesn't matter. And you can see the frame here, there's no metal support on the inside, unlike every G-Shock watch ever. This time there's just, I would say, mold together with that shit. Anyway, here's the movement out of the way. You can see it is quite unique, it's quite flashy, and removing the hands also really easy. Since this is a lower end G-Shock watch, all you have to do is just one flathead screwdriver and just gently rotate it up and down on each side. For the hour hand, it is slightly tougher because I believe the shaft is thicker. Go on one side. I mean, if you have 2 of these, or if you have a proper tool, of course it's gonna be a lot easier. I'm just showing you guys you can only disassemble the entire watch with just flathead and Phillips screwdriver. That's all you need. You don't need a special tools at all. Maybe a tweezer for the AC operation later, or just, you see, to remove this part. This part also quite odd. It is fairly thick and it is made out of metal. And what surprised me more, of course, the that digital display there. Look at that. I was expecting to see something like a small cutout, but turns out it is far bigger. Meaning, if Casio were to release a future G-Shock with different kind of LCD, they have to redesign this part only, and they're good to go. Just make the face style different. Boom, you got a bigger display. They could easily do that, but somehow they just minimize the display to this tiny section there only. Now let's have a look at the coil model. This is something that moves every single G-Shock, and I believe even the premium like the Master of G also use the exact same coil motors. This mini little motor here that remove our minute hands. Of course, I just accidentally moved the gear out of the way. Now I'm gonna demonstrate to you guys how the gear works, which is pretty basics, but we'll have a closer look after as well. All you have to do is, let me put it up close, and I'm gonna remove the hands to handset position, and you can see how the gears move. Okay, I'm gonna add a few things here. Of course, if the hands of your G-Shock watch got stuck, break, or whatever term you use, check this component here. If it's moving the way it's supposed to, if it's slightly shorter or anything. We'll have a bit more closer look afterwards after I remove this coil out of the way. But first, let's have a look at the battery. To remove the battery for battery swap, of course, you can't do it from the back because there's no space at all, unless you could wiggle your way in there. I mean, I'm using needle here, guys, and I couldn't even get in there. You have to unclip it from the top. That's right. You have to remove both hands, the faceplate, and then you could unclip the battery to perform a battery swap, which is the first time ever Casio are doing this, which is I don't know how this thing gonna turns out in the future, man. It operates on 1025 battery, which is tiny, which gonna drain a lot, but yeah, it is what it is, right? You can perform the AC operation, which is easy, and this part is pretty basic, straightforward. You can see the AC point there, a lot of contact point, I guess, for I don't know, diagnostic, if you know how to do that. And you can see the battery was buried down in here. If it is ever leak, it's not gonna go affecting the circuit board, which is really cool design here. Now all you have to do next is to unclip the component of the battery holder or the circuit board holder, which is really tough actually. You can see here it is really hard. I'm using needle here and it barely move. I need to perform multiple attempts here, and then I could unclip everything. Now you could lift it up, see if there's any battery leak whatsoever. Check from the underneath side of this thing. It looks straightforward. There's no hidden screws or springs, just straight. And the circuit board was even protected with this light green sticker, just like the GMA-P2110. You can see the contact point for the battery down here as well, buried deep in there. Even if it is leak, you're gonna see after as well. If the battery leak, it's not gonna affect anything. Now unscrew this tiny screw here, just one of them, and then the coil motor will fall down. You could remove the circuit board already, but I'm going to show you guys the coil motor here from the bottom. You can see the two contact point, two screws, just in case you want to disassemble the entire thing. You can see the gray gears, and it was moved by the white gears on the side there. There is the tiny gears from the outside. There's multiple more gears on the inside if you look at it from the back. Look at that. So it is a bit more complex than I was expecting it to be for a tiny coil motor. Now let's remove the circuit board out of the way. You can see how it looks like right now. Boom, look at that. Well protected. The battery was located way further away from the LCD, from the circuit board, from everything, every component. Maybe we'll see. If you look at the underside of this circuit board, you can see the battery is located down here. I'm not sure what those components are, but you can see the contact point, the coil motor, which is quite close to the battery, but it's fairly safe point, right? You can see some micro capacitor contact point for the LED. I could say that this reminds me of a combination between modern 2010 G-Shock and 2020 G-Shock's built, because there are some big parts and tiny parts in it, so quite unique here. Anyway, that's pretty much it for the board. Now it remove these two springs for the LED for the digital section. This part is standard. Every G-Shock share the same part, but try not to lose this thing. You could use this tweezer like I did here. It is, well, magnetized, of course. Installing it also the same way as well. Be very careful, and then we could easily remove this, I would say, diffuser panel here with the white paper, which we'll have a look afterwards as well. Next up, we're gonna have a look at the display panel. Just push it down. It was held by few sponges on each side, so that's it. No double-sided tape or whatsoever. The LED goes over here for the digital, and another one for the analog section on top. Here's the battery connector. If this thing ever got leaked or damaged, it is easily removable and you could replace those, or just basic cleanup. Now here's the ribbon for the LED just now, which is fairly big, which is good, because back then they used to use tiny spring, which makes my job a lot harder. Here's the white paper for reflective. Well, not as useful because the position of the LCD is quite further away, but it helps, you know, better than not having it. Now that everything is done, I have to just showcase to you guys all of the components at a glance, and back to the hardest part of the whole thing: assemble everything back in. Now, if you have any questions, comments, concern whatsoever, let me know down in the comment section. I'll let you know if I could help you out a little bit. Maybe not right now. I don't expect anything to happen today because this watch is really new, but 10 years, 15 years, 20 years from now, who knows? Maybe this video will be helpful to you and perhaps for me as well. That's it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys learned something from this video. This is G-Shock High Fashion channel. And